Hey everyone, here's an interesting question comment about feeling. Hi Claire, I need a bit of clarification around feelings or sensations. Is the only real value of them as feedback information to the system, to the mind body system, to observe them and feel them when they arise? I see a tendency to, especially with the ones where resistance is still very strong, to bite into them, dissect them, search what caused them, etc. But listening to the latest webinars on the Well course, doing this is totally in vain. Feels like my mind jumps in the middle of it and wants to get rid of it, which makes it altogether even worse and prevents the body from just noticing and feeling it. Yeah, great. So it's a big question. What is the value of feelings? Are they of any use in how we navigate life, in how we interact with reality, how we heal ourselves? Well, in terms of something to get rid of, they are right up top of the priority list, aren't they? We spend our lives trying to do that. The conditioning is that the experience of being should be blissful, happy, peaceful, calm, open, joyous. And so life is an ongoing attempt to achieve that feeling state while not for 1 second questioning the reality of the self, of the mind that desires that state. So life is set up for us really as an unquestioned reality of what I am and of what I want, what I need to feel okay, to feel calm and loved, successful, and an ongoing attempt to control reality, control other people, control the body, control emotions, so that the experience of being matches what that mind, that self is saying is necessary. And that is a lifetime of suffering, as we see. We see it in ourselves, we see it in other people, we see it in the mental health crisis. That is based on such enormous confusion about what we are, about what experience is, about what feelings do, what they say, that the mind is completely lost. So let's look more clearly at what feelings are really saying. So feelings, they're made of 2 parts, really, aren't they? There's the physical sensation, tightness in the belly, a sort of, tension in the shoulders, a shortness of breath, sort of adrenaline rush. And then there's the layering onto that of what that sensation is. So, for example, the feeling of a sort of tight, nervous, fluttery stomach, a short, quick breath, a sort of tension throughout the body, could be excitement or it could be fear, couldn't it? But the mind is labeling these things according to what it's being conditioned to perceive as a threat or as a pleasure. And so these feelings that arise, we take them as information about a concretely objective world. The world is as it appears, and the feeling is really useful information about whether that world is good or bad. And so the mind gets obsessed with feelings. It's obsessed with trying to have the right feelings for what it perceives as, or what it believes is its right sort of experience of being. It's obsessed with seeing what these feelings are indicating about the world, we're sort of trying to secure ourselves in relationships, in the future, in business, by trying to divine these feelings. But the crazy thing is that the world is a creation of the same conditioning, the same projection, the same beliefs, the same learned thoughts as the self. There's no difference. And feelings are what have also been learned as part of that. So say someone criticizes me in a meeting, and this venerable self, which was already hyper vigilant, hyper insecure in this meeting, has this criticism come in, and the feelings are now total resentment, anger, even hatred, even, and then shame and horror, torture, these sort of, and then envy of these other people in the meeting that haven't been criticized. The self, the criticism, the criticizer, and the feeling are all made of the same layer of conditioning, layer of insecurity, layer of identification and vulnerability that is in this moment being revealed by the feeling. That's all feelings really are doing, is they're saying, this is what is being, really the feeling is the sort of subconscious being turned into a sort of sensation, turned into a sensation form. That's it. And so in that moment in the meeting, the feelings are awful. We try and do everything we can to get rid of them. And we can try and do that by making the self feel more secure, by after the meeting, bitching away to our colleagues about how awful that person was, and trying to re-establish this sort of sense of ourselves as a independent, separate something. We're trying to get rid of the sensations. We're absolutely not questioning the reality of self and other in which those feelings arose. And so the whole thing is locked in, this conditioned, really it has come from a trauma or a shock to the system as we were growing up, this vulnerability, this fragility, this feeling of lack or limitation that doesn't allow words to be received and refuted if they're not true, or looked at if there is a truth in them that is saying something useful about our contribution or our behavior. But that pushing away, that resistance, is coming from something that has to be protected. But when the mind is locked into this try to get rid of the feelings, believe what the situation is appearing as, there's no space, there's no healing, there's no possibility of change in that. And so really, this is a reversal now for us in terms of feelings, because we're not any more interested in trying to get rid of them. We're not interested in what they're saying about the world, about ourselves, and how we can secure ourselves, because it's a sort of mythological setup. The feelings aren't information about how to navigate the world, because the world is a creation of the conditioning. The feelings are information about what about a a state within the body. That's all it is, isn't it? And it's a state within the body. The more resistance there is to the feeling, the more obvious it is that this state within the body is something that has been pushed away, that there hasn't been that safety to feel it. And now there's safety to have that feeling. And that's health. That's health, to allow the feeling in, while at the same time noticing this creation of self and other, of resistance and resentment and protection and defense, fight and flight, all these things that are going on. And this is very different from the animal sensitivity that that tunes into the real world, tunes into danger in a street, or a volatility in another person, or even a sort of incipient storm on its way, or this tuning in to the energetic reality right now is very different from the feelings that arise in relation to protecting an idea of what we are. Very, very different. And there's really two types of sensitivity here. There's the sensitivity of absolute presence, a mind body engaged in the sort of open senses of perceiving what's actually happening right now, and the identity sensitivity, the ego sensitivity, this hyper vigilance of anything that is going to wound or denigrate, criticize, reject, this idea of me, not the physical me, the idea of me, the representation of me. And they look the same, the survival looks the same. And it's how the ego developed ultimately, originally as that crossover from the physical survival, but they're so different, and the mind gets so lost, so confused. But we can just notice that when the feelings relate to the identity, shame, jealousy, anger, fear, insecurity, need, they're only there to be felt. That's their only value, is having those feelings, because that's a healthy openness within the system. It's a healing that is happening. Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. Bye.